Well, a lot of people are worried with Swimply, like the liability, of course. Like, what if somebody drowns in your pool?
I'm worried about Airbnb and the liability.
Yeah, it definitely, I have insurance for that. Just liability insurance. You have to in the city of Palm Springs, they make you. So there's a lot more rules in Palm Springs than probably here or most places really. So actually setting up the Airbnb listing is so easy and simple. But if you are somewhere that has, like the city has regulations, then your listing is illegal. But I bet here there aren't really any.
Yeah,
I
they're
don't know.
well, okay, so actually technically Airbnb isn't even legal in Las Vegas.
Oh, really?
I think it's going to be passed and it will be made legal in like a couple months. But they're also not, because the entire economy in Las Vegas revolves around like hotels and like visitors. So like
they probably are trying to lobby for,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So Airbnb is going to be legal in a couple of months, but when they do make it legal, I heard what's going to happen is you're only going to be able to have 5 listings.
That's kind of a lot.
It is a lot, but I was also wondering, it's like if you're doing rooms, then 5 rooms isn't that much. But I heard it was just 5 listings in total. So whether that be a room, whether that be like a guest unit or a full house, it's like you can only have 5, which is also like not super motivating if I was planning on getting into the Airbnb game, knowing that like I'm capped at 5.
Yeah. I mean, you could always get 1 or 2 here and then get some in other places.
Yeah, true.
I kind of like that idea because then you could have a mountain.
Yeah, your own place to stay as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the idea of that. Like having, I mean, I think it'd be really cool to have 5 different Airbnbs, like one where you can go skiing, one near a beach, the desert one. It's hard to get them in major cities though, because that's where you run into all the rules.
Yeah.
And
I actually like that idea a lot.
Right? It'd be cool.
Because then you get travel for free.
Yeah. I found I actually spend a lot less money too on like a vacation because I just go to Palm Springs now and the house is free essentially for me. So that's kind of a nice perk to it. It's like if you already own a bunch of Airbnbs, you're not really going to care as much to go travel somewhere else. Like you probably will a little bit, but you don't like have that craving as much.
See, that sounds lovely. When I was renting out a room in my house, I was like having random people come and stay with me.
Yeah, what was it like?
I wasn't a huge fan. I gotta be honest, I hated it. Yeah, like people coming and staying, that was fine. And the people were really nice and amicable and we got along just fine. But the second people that stayed, like they requested early check-in and late checkout, and I granted it to them, you know, but like at the same time I was like, okay, this is not a good sign. And then between the time of checkout and late checkout, the extra hour or 2 that I gave them, this girl brought over her ex-boyfriend and he smoked a cigarette in my room.
Oh, what?
And I was
in
like,
your room? They went in your room?
No, not my room, but in their room. Yeah,
that's still weird though.
Yeah, I know. And it was in between the like extra time that I gave them. It was in that hour. So I was like, oh my gosh. And then after that, I was like, okay, I don't want to rent to anyone else. And I tried to turn off instant book. Apparently I didn't. And I got instant booked like the next day.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
And then that person recognized me.
Oh,
and that made the whole situation a little unique. You know what I mean? Because obviously you have to watch what you say and do, like around anybody, if they're, you know, just like, I don't know, staying at your house, but especially if they know who you are, then you're like, okay, I really have to like, you know, be on my best behavior.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I would be nervous to rent out just a room.
Yeah.
I had an old roommate who said that she did that when she was in college and it paid for her whole rent. Like she did it when one of her roommates moved out early and then she just rented a room and most of the people were fine, but it was
on rare occasion you get someone that's just like crazy.
Yeah. I think that's true. Like I haven't had any terrible Airbnb guests, but there was one kind of difficult one. And I feel like that's just sort of bound to happen. And so it's way more invasive if it's your own house. Like for the Palm Springs house, if something breaks in it, I'm kind of like detached. I'm like, it's fine. We'll just get something else.
Yeah, you have a property manager and everything.
Yeah. And it feels like a business. Like it doesn't feel like my personal stuff. Like if something really bad happens to it, I'd just be like, well, it's fine. We'll just get another. So...
I want to talk about the Airbnb stuff more, but I'm just thinking like Graham will want some of the conversation.
I know. Yeah, that's like.
I'll ask you random questions. Okay.
Okay. Cool.
So I saw you on a Shan Rizwan video Riz one.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like watching his content, and he would come up on my TikTok feed all the time. And then I saw like he posted a YouTube video guessing strangers' incomes or something, like guessing strangers' jobs. And you were in the thumbnail.
I know.
And I clicked on it, and I was like, oh my God, like it's Shelby.
So
and I was
funny.
looking at the comments, be like, Shelby Church. And basically what this guy is, Shan, he goes around like New York City, I think, or Sean. His name is Sean, not Shan. He goes around New York City, and he like asks people like how much money they make, and I don't know, random
like what
cool
they're
questions.
listening to.
Yeah, and what they're listening to.
music
That's like
they're
another one
listening
that he
to.
went
Yeah.
viral for. Is he like go up to people like, oh, what music are you listening to? And they'd answer, and he'd play the song, watching them walk away. It's a cool concept. But he went up to you, and I saw that in the video, and it was really cool.
It's so funny because I read the comments of that video, and everyone's like, "This is staged. Like this is so fake. They knew each other."
I thought it was staged.
And
I thought it was fake.
This is what happened because it's like semi a little bit. So what happened was like. I was in New York for like the month of October, right? And I had like my whole routine. I would go to the gym. I was walking back to the gym, and he saw me and came up to me and was like, "Hey, do you want to be in my video?" And I like had never seen his videos before, so I really
Did he know who you were?
Yeah. So I thought.
Wait,
it was
but then why
totally
did he say,
random.
"What do you do"?
Okay, so that was
the stage
just
part.
for the video.
Yeah.
So it's also funny because it's like I was just coming back from the gym, and I was like, "Oh, I really look so bad right now. Like if you come back at 4 p.m." Because it was right outside where I was staying. I was like, oh, we can do it then. I just want to get ready. And like, I had a couple things I had to do first.
Nice.
So it was like, he actually did run into me, and I fully thought this was like a random thing. Like, I was like, oh, sure, why not just be in this video? That'd be kind of funny. But I didn't know he was like a pretty big YouTuber and all of that. So it was a little bit, but it wasn't like we knew each other before and we're like, hey, do you want to be in my video?
Yeah.
Like he really did just come up to me and ask, and
But he said, hey, Shelby, like I know you from YouTube.
Yeah. Well, I forget what it was. I think I'm trying to remember. I don't think he did at first, but then he said like, oh, I've seen your YouTube and all that. So it was funny. I guess it was like a little bit staged, but not really, I feel like.
No, that's pretty candid.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we didn't know each other at all before. But yeah, I'm in the thumbnail and I'm like, oh man.
Do you regret that at all? Because you kind of disclosed some general idea of how much money you're making.
I said.
I think you said six figures. That's what you said. Because he asked how much money you make, and 6 figures.
And I put really how much I make on AdSense on YouTube anyway. So I'm fine sharing that. So yeah. And then he put a number, I think he put like 200,000 in the title, which isn't really like accurate, but it's kind of gives the idea.
Yeah.
So I guess, I don't know. I didn't say anything I regret.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you looked fine in the video.
I know. I'm always nervous going on other people's stuff though, because you can't edit it and you don't know if in 10 years you're going to regret it, or I don't know.
That goes with everything though.
I know.
That goes with your own videos too, because a lot of the times people will post things thinking that they're completely fine, and they'll edit themselves, and then people, once 10 random people see it, and 3 out of 10 of them are like, oh, it's bad that you said that.
But you can always private your own video, I guess.
True.
I think more of like, I'm pretty careful about what I say. Like it's more of just like, it's cringy looking back on stuff 5 years ago a little bit. Yeah. Like some of my really old videos, I'm like, oh, let's take this down now.
Do you take it down?
Yeah. I've put it unlisted or whatever.
What videos?
Like old, okay, I think I talked about this on the podcast once, but the whole saturation era idea of that, it was like probably 5 years ago when a lot of the lifestyle YouTubers would boost the saturation on their videos like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and do
so
these
you're just
like
embarrassed of the
DIY.
editing that you did.
Yeah, and they're just like, I feel like they're not at all how my videos are now, so I don't want someone to stumble upon my channel and be like, and think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Because it's just not even at all. So I guess if it was similar to what I'm making now, then it would be fine. It'd probably just be kind of funny, but now it's like if someone subscribes because they want to see more of that, they're not.
Yeah, they're not going to like the current content.
They're not going to, but yeah, it's pretty funny.
That goes with with everyone though. It's like, I mean, I'm sure I would be super embarrassed of myself 5 years ago. It just so happened that I wasn't a public person 5 years ago. So it's not like I can go back and like be worried about that stuff.
I know. It's funny though, because now everyone can have it all documented and look back and be like, ooh.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
It's good and bad.
Yeah.
Who are your biggest mentors in your life? Like the people that you idolized, and what were your biggest takeaways from them?
This is a tough one. Because I feel like I haven't had a lot of like traditional like, oh, this is my mentor or whatever. I guess maybe with...
You could say idols, people that just you learned a lot from. It could even be like a random YouTuber that taught you a lot.
I'll always have a few channels where I'm like, whoa, I really like their editing or like
So that's a lot of what you take away when you consume YouTube is like the style of post-production.
Yeah, or even just like the fonts people use, whatever. And have you seen Johnny Harris's videos? No. They're so good. The editing, it's like he was a journalist for Vox, and so they're just very professional. And I feel like I've accidentally stumbled into like almost making like journalistic style videos, like documentary style. Yeah. So I saw his and I just thought it was really cool that he's like an actual journalist YouTuber, because there haven't really been much of that. It's like people making videos, but they wouldn't be considered actual journalists. And I think that he actually is. Like you would consider him one. So his videos are really cool. I'm trying to think. I mean, when I was
It doesn't have to be YouTube related. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess just like coaches that I had doing gymnastics and stuff growing up. My brother, also I have an older brother, and he's always had just a very strong work ethic that inspired me to work harder probably than if I didn't have a brother. Like I feel like he'd be very much like, get good grades. And my parents are kind of chill about it. Like they're like, you know, it's fine. But my brother would be like, you should really like try in school.
You should try. Yeah. Give it a good effort.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say that. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Or even I went to Orange Coast College when I first moved to California, and the teachers there were very, like, I guess they just like were very helpful because the classes are really small. It's a community college, and they could have easily been sort of, I don't know, go the traditional film route, like transfer to Chapman or USC or one of those film schools. But they were like, what you're doing is great. Like really, we're pushing for YouTube because they were seeing the future of it back in like 2014 when a lot of people thought, what is this still, like, is this really a job? And so that was really helpful because they taught me a lot about how to actually shoot better and edit better and all of that, and were just really encouraging rather than being like, this stuff isn't good. Like I don't know, I thought going into it they would think YouTube was kind of silly and like not that good, but they were like the biggest hype people. That's
crazy,
ever.
Especially back in 2014, like you said, when like everyone, there was a huge stigma on YouTube. And I mean, there still is. It's like, oh, you can make money off of that? That's still what everyone says. But at the same time, it's like, especially back then.
Right. And I don't know, I just thought it would seem like embarrassing to like a more legit like film thing, but they were all about it. So that was really cool. And like some of them were like, oh, I remember one teacher connected me to someone to try and get a job at like CBS or something like that. It was CBS, yeah. But obviously I just do YouTube. So that has worked out. I've never done like a regular job.
Never?
Never.
You've never like worked at a restaurant?
No.
You've never
I really
worked retail?
wanted to. When I was younger, I really wanted to work at Starbucks like up the street.
But your parents didn't let you or what?
Well, I was 14, so you couldn't yet.
That makes sense, yeah.
And I just started making videos then. So by the time I was the age where you could get a normal job, it would have been like a pay cut from YouTube. Like it would have been less.
That's crazy.
Right?
Do you feel like there's a part of you that's like missing since you never got to experience like
kind of like
a 9 to 5 or something like that?
Yeah, and a lot of people are like, trust me, you don't want to, but I kind of wish I knew for myself.
Yeah.
I thought about
it's
doing
just a life experience at the end of the day.
Yeah, totally. And I liked having structure and all of that. Like I kind of liked being in school when I was in school. Like I wasn't one of those people who really hated it, but I do prefer kind of just doing my own thing.
Yeah.
So
it's so silly because like in my house, I live with like some people that I work with. For example, my editor rents a room for me and contractor, not a employee. My contractor rents a room from me. And it's funny because we like set up our desks now like in a cubicle type thing. Like we made our own cubicle. It's like YouTube is the anti 9 to 5 like corporate environment, but we like do our best to emulate like, you know, a cubicle working corporate and stuff like that. And we like work beside each other. We take like little breaks. We try to like set structured times, you know, 9 to 5, we're going to edit and get these videos done and stuff like that. It's just because like the structure is just like, I don't know, if you have no structure, you can't get anything done.
Yeah. I think there is like a reason a lot of 9 to 5 jobs are the way that they are because it kind of works, right? You know how a lot of people want to work for themselves so that they don't have to work as much or can work weird hours. But then you find when you do work for yourself, you probably work more or you stick to 9 to 5 hours anyway. Like I kind of stick to that because if you don't, you're still going to get emails or whatever it is when you're not working or whatever. So it just gets like confusing if you don't stick to it, I think.
It's just so silly. Yeah. It's like when I was working at like an actual job, like I was a busboy at a restaurant. It's like I would do anything to be like an entrepreneur, working my own schedule, like, you know, doing whatever I want with all my free time. But now it's like, you know, I've been doing it for like 2-3 years now. And now I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I just want like a structured, like 9 to 5 even. Like that sounds amazing right now. As silly as that seems, like clocking in and clocking out.
Yes. Sometimes it does seem nice to be able to go somewhere and then just
you want what you can't have.
Done with it. Yeah,
that's
totally.
exactly what it is.
Yeah. So I don't know. People are probably watching and they're like, shut up, like YouTube.
I know. I probably sound so ridiculous saying that, but it's just so hard to stay structured and to like, for example, like 5 comes around. A big part of it is like knowing how to turn off the work brain. And it's like 5 comes around and it's like things always come up after 5. And it's like, you know, 7, say you want a hard deadline at 7, stuff comes around at 8. Graham will text me at 9. Hey, what do you think about this thumbnail? And then I spend, you know, some time thinking about the thumbnail or whatever.
Yeah. Little things like that.
Yeah.
I always try to, like, when the sun is down, I really don't want to work on anything because I feel like,
out?
So like in the winter, it's a little earlier, but it's like actually just the way that I work, I find I'm not even like my brain is not fresh anymore. I'm not even doing a good job at things once I'm kind of tired. Like I'm very much a morning person. So I'd rather wake up early and get everything done and then have the afternoon to chill or work out or whatever.
That makes sense. How's your like work-life balance right now? How many hours do you work per week? What's your team like?
Whoa. Lately, it's my work-life balance has been a lot more life than work, I would say. Yeah. Because basically I've been like sort of a nomad. Like I put all my stuff in storage. Yeah. And then I've done a couple month-long Airbnbs. And whenever I do that, I'm able to like get in a routine and work on a lot of videos. But this last week has been more of just like bouncing around. So I get a good amount of editing done, but anytime you have to go to the airport and like do all of that, you end up wasting so many hours just like in the car. Yeah. Walking through the airport. And it's kind of exhausting too. Like once you get there, I always want to like rest a little bit. So I haven't been working as much, but I have so much stuff still to edit. And I feel like I've still had the same output somehow. But I actually just signed a lease for an apartment. And so I think once I get back into a routine, it'll be much more structured. So I really don't even know how many hours I would consider I've worked, honestly, but not as probably half as much as I usually do in the last month, just from like traveling around. But
yeah, but you're still maintaining.
Recording. Yeah.
That's the thing that I've realized is it's like, it's very easy to maintain. And it's very easy just to like keep whatever you have been doing going forever. And like you can do, let's say 90% of what you usually do with like, you know, 30% of the time allocation. Yeah. It's just like,
it's so
there's
true.
So much time that's wasted. It's like Parkinson's law kind of. It's like the job will take as long as the amount of time that you give to do the job.
Yeah. I know I've thought a lot about that because I do go the extra mile when I have more time or when I'm in a routine. But also sometimes it just doesn't matter that much.
Going the extra mile can take like, you know, 200% of the amount of time you wanted it to take. And then all of a sudden it's like, is it really worth it?
Yeah, I know. I've thought about that because it'll be like for one shot. Yeah. And if you have to drive 20 minutes to go get it and whatever. Yeah. So I used to do that a lot more. But lately I've been like, okay, I can repurpose an old shot. Like, doesn't really matter. Yeah, do that kind of thing. But you have your own YouTube channel now, right?
Hardly. Yeah, I do. Really? No, I mean, I have 2 videos posted. I have 2 videos in the works right now. There's been this one video that was a complete monster to edit. It was like 7 hours of raw, nearly 8 actually, hours of raw footage. So I walked to St. George, Utah for a Tinder date.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I walked straight into the Tinder date after like, you know, 5 days of walking. Yeah.
I mean, that's like a Mr. Beast type of title, I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, it's kind of an exciting thing, but it's so hard to edit that style of video when I'm so used to like editing other types of videos, such as reaction videos and like random stuff like that. It's very technical. I'm not a great technical editor, but I'm good at keeping rhythm and keeping pacing and stuff like that. But like,
it's always nice to have a video where you know all you really have to do is cut out the dead space and add some music and titles.
Yeah.
Like those are sort of fun to edit. Whenever I edit my main channel videos, I'm like, oh my God, it's like doing a puzzle.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, where should I put this? I end up changing everything. So sometimes it's like, I'd rather just edit a vlog because they're so easy.
They're
like
so
those are
easy.
actually really fun to edit.
Yeah.
But main channel stuff, unless I just shot footage that I'm like so excited to use because it turned out really good.
Yeah.
Then I can be a little bit like daunted with that.
Yeah, I feel that. This entire project has been so daunting. Like I filmed it like nearly 2 months ago and I've just been sitting on it. Yeah. And I've edited like a decent amount of it. Like we brought down the 8 hours to 40 minutes or 35 minutes. But at the same time, it's just like, oh my, every time I open up the timeline, I just look at it. I'm just like, this is going to be like 6 hours and I'll get a minute done.
I know.
You know?
That's how I felt with that. I showed you guys that OnlyFans documentary. Yeah. And I still haven't posted that because it's the same thing. So much footage.
But when are you going to do it then? That's the thing. I'm asking myself the same question. So it's not like, you know what I mean?
I know. I mean, I have a cut that's pretty much done, but I need to like go add little things. But every time I go to open it, it takes like literally 20 minutes to even open the file.
Oh, just to render it?
Yeah, because it'll have missing clips, so I have to relink everything, and that whole process takes a while. So it's not something I'm gonna like real quick, like open my laptop and get a little bit of editing done. Yeah. It's like, you know, you're gonna need like a 4-hour block to work on this. And then with like I've just found this year, there's been so many like brand stuff, like things that just come up, and I end up not prioritizing it when, I don't know, I really want to get it out there. But yeah.
That's been the exact same story with me and the Tinder video. It's just so much.
Yeah, it's hard. Because you still, I mean, you work on the podcast. Do you still work with Graham?
Yeah, pretty much like I will say a lot of my responsibility is the podcast. And then I hired out a lot of the stuff that I was doing. So Graham still like sources his work or like the, you know, the production of certain channels through me, but then I just source that through someone else. Right. And I kind of like am quality control, making sure that like the standards are still hit, the deadlines are still hit. And it's actually, I found it more profitable for us. I mean, Graham's costs have stayed the exact same. I have like so much more time on my hands and I'm able to allocate, you know, to other things where it's like, I'm not editing, let's say, where like maybe my time value is like, you know, a wage, like $30 an hour, $40 an hour, something like that. And I can go do something that, you know, find another sponsor or try to scale on TikTok or something like that.
Yeah. What do you do with now the more free time?
Honestly, play ping pong. I play a lot of ping pong. Yeah, it's bad. Fun. Yeah, it's fun. I love it. I'm having a great time. I'm just critiqued by Graham a lot.
Okay, I'm very pro having hobbies. I feel like people don't have as many hobbies because everyone's like working all the time. Yeah. But now that I found I can even like, I feel like I could work like very few hours in a week and it be fine. But then I do like get excited about a video and I want to more. Yeah. But it's just not that fulfilling if you are constantly working and you just like have nothing else. Like I feel like you end up getting bored of whatever.
And you get better at working when you work less. Yeah. It's like if you work less, I found a positive ROI on that. As silly as it may seem, but like the time that I do now spend working, it's like I'm getting done like 5 times as much work as I was in an hour now than I was back in the day when I was doing all of that stuff. So, and this is like a big qualm or gripe that Graham and I have with each other. It's like, Graham's like, yeah, you got to work more. And it's like, I've been in the trenches and I've done the thing where like you work like ridiculous amount of hours every week for, you know, a year or 2 straight. And I hated it. And I wasn't getting that much done.
And it's a personality type that can do it, that can like work all the time. And like, they really do actually love it. But I feel like that's not everyone. It's not a lot of people probably. But like, I still feel guilty if I'm not working like
me too.
A lot.
Me too.
Just because it's kind of how our society is, though, like working all the time. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it can be helpful to not a little bit.
There's a lot of pressure to just work a lot. And I'm not like anti-work at all, like at all. I love working, but especially being in this environment when you're around like people that are like, I'm building this new vertical, I'm coming out with my own chocolate bar and stuff like that. And it's like, oh my God, like everyone's doing so much. And then you look at yourself and you're like, well, I have another podcast episode, I have 2 more sponsors, and you're just doing the same thing and you're maintaining. It's kind of like, it's disheartening, you know? I try to keep the perspective that like, you know, working right now and gaining money and wealth or whatever, it's like, that's all a means to an end. So it's like, you have to remember that like, are you working to get more money, to have more free time? You know what I mean? It's like, what if you can have a good balance right now? What if you can enjoy your, you know, your money right now or your free time right now? So,
right. I know. I think I feel like a lot of people can, but don't let themselves.
Certainly.
Sometimes for good reason, to like, maybe you're really working to like set up yourself later. But there are people who like, they have more than enough for the rest of their life even, and they're still just working like so much.
Some people they just like working, you know? Some people like entrepreneurship and stuff like that. I love entrepreneurship and I like working a lot, but I like working when I feel like the time that I am spending working is like actually doing something instead of like I can do, like I said, 90% of what I should be doing, or technically 100% of what I should be doing, and now 20% of the time, you know? And I don't want to add more work on when I feel like it's just redundant work or it's work that isn't important. I want to try to find something first that I feel like, okay, I have an impact with this work, and then I can go head first into that.
Right.
But like, I'm not going to try to force it and just work for no reason.
Just doing it for the sake of staying busy. Yeah. I've totally done that before. Just been like, I should be doing something productive right now. Like,
and then you don't do anything productive.
Yeah. It's just like, kind of, I don't know.
It would be more productive to sit and to think and just to go for a walk and enjoy your time. I feel like, you know,
actually going for walks, I come up with I think a lot of good ideas doing that, but it's easy to forget too. Cause like in a lot of cities, you have to like intentionally go walk. Like I think maybe I'm sure there's more, but like if you're in New York, you're walking all the time. And I feel like it gives you more energy, and I think of more ideas. I just kind of enjoy it. Like that's something I've realized.
Yeah, I love walking. That was, I mean, that was a huge portion of like the whole walking to Utah thing. Because like
you already like it.
I love walking. Yeah, and I thought, oh well, I can combine walking and film a video about it, and it has to be clickable, so I'll walk into a Tinder date. And I'm like, well, it all works out. But I'm with you on that. And there's also a study that was done that shows that forward momentum that you create when you're walking, it creates like forward thinking. It's weird. So like if you're moving forward, then your brain can think in some, I don't know, more effective way or something like that. And there were studies that were done on that. So that's what Graham and I used to do when we lived in Santa Monica together. We would go for walks every single day, and we would be thinking about like video ideas, topics, like how we can grow and scale the business and stuff like that while we were walking, because it was more effective that way.
I know I've heard of, I forget who it is, but different like successful people that do walking meetings only.
Walking meetings?
Yeah, it's like instead of meeting for coffee, like they'll go on a walk with someone.
That's smart.
That's like the meeting. Yeah, because I feel like it kind of gets your brain thinking differently.
Okay, so this is Graham's recommendation, believe it or not. He texted in a group chat of Alex and I that he wants us to talk smack about him.
Oh, about him?
About him. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Some drama. We can stir up some drama. So how does it make you feel when you see another video titled "Millionaire Reacts Shelby Church something 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 money"? Because we've done like at this point 10 of them maybe.
Oh really? Okay,
I don't know.
I've seen some where I'm like, wait, that video wasn't even new. Like you guys must have found it and you're like, oh, we should react to this one. And I'm like, that one's so old. Okay, I used to the first time I ever saw one, I was like, what the heck? Like, what did he say? You know, like I thought we were chill.
Yeah, now you're just used to it.
And then but watching it, he never says anything like that mean.
Yeah. What does he say that is mean though?
I don't remember because I haven't watched one in a long time. I should react to his reaction or whatever.
Should you?
I think I recorded that a long time ago, but I never uploaded it.
Yeah.
I think sometimes the thumbnails are out of hand. I think I told him that once. I was like, they actually crack me up. I'm like, how do you guys even think of this?
Yeah.
Like his head exploding. Yeah. But sometimes it's like, whoa, really clickbaity, but it does work.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. Graham likes to take a positive situation and in the packaging of the video, spin it in a bad way, which like it works. Unfortunately, that's what gets the clicks.
Always click on like fear stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's because it's a very easy emotion to trigger. Yeah. It's like one of the reasons why I feel like Shane Dawson's whole like docuseries did well is because like they were all rooted in like being scary and like it's such an easy emotion to elicit. And for an audience and for creator, one of the most powerful things you can do is to get the viewer feel some sort of like actual emotion, whether that be like rage, even towards yourself, to the creator, rage or sadness or fear. And it's just like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, his thumbnails do get me because I'm like, wait, like, the housing market is gonna burst. Like,
yeah, and then you click on it, and it's like the housing market's doing super well, guys. Yeah. Make sure you dollar cost average in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, if we're talking smack, maybe like sometimes it gets a little repetitive.
Certainly.
You know?
Yeah.
Does he ever get bored of talking
about?
Yeah.
all the time. I mean, like we're coming up with topics sometimes and he's like, all right, man, I have no idea. Like, what am I supposed to make? And we're like, well, another passive income video. And we'll just make another like, 6 best ways to make $1,000 a month or something like that. And it's just like, it's the same thing over and over again, but it's hitting a new audience.
Oh,
so there's like a new analytic that YouTube provides, which is like new viewers versus like old viewers. So it's like old versus returning versus unique.
Yeah.
And it's surprising to see of each video, it's like 90% unique viewers. So like new viewers seeing every video.
Wow.
It's like a really, really surprising statistic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like if he does come out with a video that's maybe it's repetitive to you, it's like you're getting a whole new audience to see it. And I am a firm believer. It's like, if you have to use clickbait in order to get people to like click on your videos, it's unfortunate, but you kind of got to do what you got to do. And at the same time, especially if you're a finance creator that's promoting, in my opinion, like pretty good, strong financial principles, it's like the more people that see that video, the better. So even though it's like, you may have to use kind of like a weird method to get people to watch the video, as long as the outcome is the same, which is more financial literacy for, the most amount of people, then it's doing a good service.
Yeah, it's not like total clickbait where you click on the video and it's about something totally different or like,
sometimes it is.
Yeah.
We really try to border that,
I feel like people still get something out of it though, if they are interested in personal finance. Yeah, it's not like, I think it would be totally different if
the content
he was
didn't
just
deliver.
like pushing like sketchy tactics.
That's exactly my logic behind it too. It's like, well, if you have to clickbait, it's fine because we're teaching people good things.
I think so too. I think it's like a net positive.
Yeah.
What you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Does he run out of video ideas or like
all the time?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, like literally to the point of being like, all right, Jack, I have no idea what to talk about. There's nothing going on in the markets. I've checked every single website. I've looked at Reddit, CNN, like everything. I can't find anything. And I'm like, well, let's just think. And then we just think sometimes. Not so much as, as much as we used to when we lived together, but like, we would just think like, well, can you make a video about this? Oh, I've already done that 4 times. All right, let's go to the next one. You come up with another idea.
It's hard to just be like, okay, I'm just going to think of ideas. I feel like I come up with like 10 bad ones and then maybe one good one where I'm like, okay, that can maybe work.
That's what Mr. Beast does. He has like...
Oh, he just like sits and forces himself.
So I think I heard somewhere, I don't remember exactly where it was from, but like people will provide Mr. Beast with like a list of maybe, let's just say, maybe I'm not getting the numbers right, but like 100 or so video ideas. And he just goes through every single one of them and then circles like 5 of them. And then from those 5, they weed it down to like, 1 or 2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I actually did a video where I hired someone on Fiverr to like write the video idea for me. And I hired a few different people. So I hired one person to come up with video ideas for me. And it was really interesting to see what they came up with. And they would have reasons for it. They're like, this is pretty searchable. But it was really random stuff like how to make a campfire. Like things that were just like, wait, I don't think that would fit on my channel.
Yeah.
But it's helpful, I think, to have someone have a fresh set of eyes and look at it. Me and my friend were talking about how we want to do like a creator retreat, like everyone goes and stays at a cool Airbnb or something, and we're assigned to think of like 5 video ideas for each person's channel and then present them one night so everyone can hopefully come away with some cool ideas.
That would be awesome,
right? I think it would be helpful and like productive.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, something like that. But I hate organizing that stuff.
Yeah, that's always the worst.
Yeah,
video ideas are always a struggle for us. And they are for you too.
Yeah. I feel like I have a running list of stuff, but some of them I'll write down and I know that it wouldn't do that well. So I'm like, should I do this? Should I really spend the time on it? And if I have no other ideas, like I'll do it anyway. Cause I'm like,
and do you generally know what videos are going to do well and what videos will do poorly?
Sometimes, like I'll look at my channel now because I'm like, I don't know. Sometimes I really don't know. I recently uploaded one where I went on a cruise and I really didn't think it would do well at all. But now it's at 150,000 views. I made one that was touring this 3D printed house in Austin.
I watched that video.
Yeah, it's at 500,000 views.
That video was so good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It was like, it got like 40,000 for the first week. And I was like, dang, I really thought that one was going to do well.
Yeah.
And so now it's doing how I thought it would. But some of these, I just like can't always tell. I knew the one that was like how much money my Airbnb makes.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
The one in airport lounges did really not great at first, but now that one's also at 318,000. I made a video about like everything you need to know before moving to New York. I thought that one would do a lot better, but it's like kind of lagging behind the rest of them. So you never know. what I spend in a week. I was kind of shocked people are still into those.
Did we react to that?
Probably, yeah. In New York.
Probably, yeah.
I knew that too. I think now when I make a video like that, I'll usually say like, oh, Graham's going to hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just because I know it's going to be in a reaction video.
Do you strictly budget?
No.
Not at all.
I mean, I probably should, but I really don't, because I don't know. I spend definitely less, like much less than I'm making, but I don't really budget it out like that crazy.
Mm-hmm. I'm a firm believer in like budgets are generally good for people, but at the same time, it's like the best budget that you can potentially have is just to not have expensive taste. So it's like, I don't budget for myself because I know that like, I know that sounds so ridiculous. I got this for free. This one right here, it looks like an expensive shirt. I got it for free. The watch was an investment, but I don't have expensive taste. So it's really easy for me to like not have a budget and not be in a hole.
Me
you
too.
know?
Like I've always been more of a saver than a spender.
Yeah.
And so I trust that I'm never really like going over that, because I'll still be like weirdly cheap about things where it doesn't even make sense sometimes. Like adding avocado to something that
I won't do it either.
Yeah. Sometimes I won't, but a lot of times I will. But like it's like a $2 add-on, and then I won't blink about like hiring someone to get like footage for $300 or whatever. Yeah. But it's different. It's hard to budget too when you're making videos and you have all these business expenses. Like, I don't know, sometimes I'll be shooting and I'll buy lunch for whoever's helping me shoot, but I feel like that's just reasonable thing to do.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that whole avocado thing is so funny because I was out at it was actually during the walk where we swung by a Subway. It was me and my brand manager. And I didn't add avocado. And he was like, Jack, why didn't you have avocado? Like, I know you like it. And I said, well, you know, it was extra $1. And he's like, why'd you get the sandwich that you got? And I was like, it was the cheapest sandwich on like the menu.
Yeah.
And like, it's so silly because like for $2 extra, I could have got avocado, or maybe I could have got a better sandwich. But it's like, those expenses are the hardest ones. But like other random stuff, I totally agree with you. It's like, I don't know, the stuff for the house. It's like, I'll spend, you know, $1,000 on random stuff. Like I just spent $1,000 for speakers for my car. Yeah. It's like, it's so like, it doesn't work, you know? I don't know why those tiny expenses are so challenging.
I know, but then, yeah, I know. I feel the same thing. Like I spent so much on the Palm Springs Airbnb that it almost made me feel like, oh, it's okay to spend this much. I'm like, wait, no, this is like for something.
Yeah.
And it will pay off. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like budgeting is, obviously good if you need to, but it's kind of like, I'm like, I don't like it. I don't want to like live my life that way.
It also takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just makes it not fun.
So what do you spend your money on? Is it mostly experiences or is it material things?
Lately, it's just a lot of travel, like a lot of Airbnbs, airplane tickets, like going out to dinner, that kind of thing. I like never buy clothes because I'm like living out of a suitcase the last 6 months. So like occasionally I will, but it makes me not want to buy clothes because I don't want to have to deal with them. Like I just only have so much space, which I think is kind of a good thing. But I definitely spend a lot of money just on things for videos, or like a lens. Like I recently bought a lens that was like $1,000, and that was a thing where I just was like, oh, I need this. Like I didn't even think twice about it. Yeah. But obviously way more expensive than like a $2 add-on avocado. Yeah. But because it's for a video, it feels just justified. So yeah, I feel like it's a lot on travel, more on experiences. Yeah. Or like setting up the Airbnb. That was definitely like what I spent the most money on. So furniture, stuff like that, which was kind of a fun way to like satisfy wanting to buy material things. Yeah, but it's justifying for a business.
By a business.
Yeah, like it still was fun, and it felt like, I guess, it's still technically like my stuff, but it made it so I didn't.
You don't have the attachment to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like putting all my stuff in storage made me have like a lot less attachments to things in general. Because I thought I would even like miss having my own bed, but once it's like in storage, I didn't even think about it. I was like, oh, I'm actually better sleeping all over the place than I was before.
So I'm confused. So you're just traveling all over the place? Do you not have technically like a residence right now?
Basically, Well, now I do. I like have an apartment in Seattle, but I have to go set it up when I get back from this next trip because I'm kind of sick of it, honestly. But my like lease was up in LA, and I was looking at other places, and they just didn't even feel worth it. Like, it was when all the rents were going up probably like 20% from what they were the previous year because all the COVID deals, they like want to make their money back from that. So I would tour these places and be like, I just am not excited to pay $3,000 a month for this. Like, it just doesn't even feel worth it. And I had been in LA for like 8 years, but I didn't really know where I wanted to go. So I like was able to get like a storage company to let me store my stuff for free for 4 months. So I was like, why not try this? Just putting it in a video.
Oh.
So yeah, I was like, why not try it? One of my friends was gonna be in New York for a month anyway. I'll start there and go for the month. And it was really fun. Like, I really wanted to move to New York after that. But then touring places in New York, I was like, this is like, it feels like a scam.
Oh, is it that expensive?
Yeah, like the amount you pay. I just posted a video touring some places. So these were like prime locations this broker showed me. So you can find a nice place in like Brooklyn or like the financial district, places that are maybe a little less inconvenient, but still pretty cool.
Yeah.
But he showed me like the prime location. So of course they're going to be like way more expensive. And it was like $5,000 a month, no washer and dryer in the unit. Like, they weren't even really that nice. Like,
the inside wasn't that nice either?
No, like, it was fine. It was still like kind of nice, but not compared to what you can get literally anywhere else. Jeez. And that's like a mortgage of like $1 million house. Yeah. When you think about it like that, you're like, this is crazy. And then also in New York, you pay way more in taxes, right? And so that together, I was like, whoa, why do people do this?
Yeah.
Like, I get it. It's like a really amazing city, but when you really look at like exactly how much you're paying to live there, it's crazy. I'm like, I don't know. I'd rather just visit, I guess.
So you landed on Seattle?
Yeah.
Why Seattle?
Because I'm from there and I haven't lived there since I like moved 8 years ago. I've never really lived in the city. I lived in a suburb when I grew up there. And so I think it'll be cool. It's way cheaper. There's no state income tax there. I found an apartment that I actually am excited about and that's like nice. So that was part of it. It's just being like, okay, this is a place I actually want and I feel worth paying for than everywhere else. But I feel like I'm going to miss the good weather of California. So I'm like, I don't know. I'll try Seattle. Maybe it'll be fine because I can go to Palm Springs from time to time. But I'm like,
yeah, just try it out for a little bit.
Right.
My brother lives in Seattle. He likes it.
Oh, yeah.
And iDubbbz is moving to Seattle.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool. It's very nice in the summer. So it's like going into the summer will be awesome. But I think the winter I might be like, okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about this.
Yeah, it's very gloomy.
Yeah.
And that wraps up Jack Chat. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you, Shelby, for being my first ever guest to Jack Chat. And
happy to.
Yeah, get your free stock down below in the description using Graham's affiliate link. Sign up for the mentorship group. Shelby, shout out what you want to shout out. Tell people what's up.
You can go check out my main channel, Shelby Church. If you've never seen it, go check it out.